Welcome back. All right, some news of the day for all you fine people for your Thursday, November the 9th. Starting off with New York Rangers news. So now Jonathan Quick is out with an injury. He's day-to-day. It's an upper body injury for him. So Shesterkin's been out for a bit. Quick's on the shelf. We don't know how long Shesterkin's going to be out. Now, for Quick, it's day-to-day. So Louis Domingue starts tonight. And New York Rangers PR tweeted this out. Otherwise, this is not information that I think any of us would know. But he becomes the first right-catching goaltender for the New York Rangers since Glenn Hanlon last played for them in 1986. So Glenn Hanlon, a goaltender I liked a lot. I don't think I've actually done a video on Glenn Hanlon. Maybe it's time, now that I know he's the last right-catching goalie before Domingue tonight. It just seems like such an oddly specific thing, but I guess they like guys who catch with their left. And at any rate, we'll see how Domingue does. Domingue has been good in certain stretches when he's been called upon by other teams. He's a decent number 3 goaltender, so all the best to him. So the speculation is all around in Calgary. Now, Elliot Friedman put some cold water on this right away, saying that he felt like it was more of an injury thing than a potential trade thing. But Wolf has been called up by the Calgary Flames. So while Wolf has been called up, we'll see what kind of speculation is out there, and immediately I'm sure people will be like, hey, Vladar's going to be getting traded. I don't think he is. But Wolf's been very good for the Wranglers. It feels like he's ready, and that he should be the next one for the Calgary Flames. It is going to be interesting to see how they navigate that, because again, they're not off to the kind of start they want to be. I don't think the goaltending is why that start hasn't been great, but Wolf is fantastic. So it is going to be interesting to see what they do and what ends up happening. And if Wolf just gets sent right back down again, maybe Craig Conroy's just kind of bored and he's messing with us. Either way, speculate away. Now's the time if you're a Flames fan, or even not, speculate away. So Jordan Eberle took a skate cut to the leg at practice yesterday and had to go for an MRI. So it sounds like it was pretty deep cut, which of course with the skate, that's real. Now, the first thing I thought was, I wonder where it cut him on the leg. Now, I know they use the cut-resistant socks during a game. Maybe they don't have them on during practice. Maybe he doesn't use the cut-resistant socks. Either way, we'll see how long Eberle's out. It looks like Wright probably takes his spot in the lineup. He's been recalled from Coachella Valley, and Shane Wright was off to a very good start to the season with Coachella Valley in 7 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. So Wright gets a chance to step in, and we'll see how things go there. But hopefully Eberle's not out for that long. But if he got an MRI, that's... you don't get an MRI for just a surface cut or just, it's no big deal. It's a pretty big deal. So hopefully Eberle's not out that long. So, of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs are being discussed a lot. I do think we're getting into video territory on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just a heads up for everybody, because it is interesting to see how disastrous this season has started for them and its defense. What's interesting is their defense was good last year. And then this year they make some additions. People are finding out that Klingberg is maybe overrated. I'm going to say maybe. Klingberg had a very up and down season last year. And acquiring Klingberg, there were definitely some risks there. You had to hope that you were getting the Klingberg that finished last season rather than the one that started the year in Anaheim, where he was having a tough time of it. But they've allowed 4 or more goals in all 7 of their home games to start the season. That ties a team record that was set in 76-77. And if you're looking back that far, and if you were allowing more goals in home games than the Leafs did in the 80s, it's really time to take a look at things. And I do wonder, something has to give soon, because Toronto can't have this, right? They spent a lot of money on some players in the offseason. Almost none of them have produced or played the way that they were supposed to. And the defense, which last year was good and was much maligned, this year it's not good and it's much maligned, and it seems like it's for more reason this year than last year. So I do think that warrants a little bit of a closer look from me, taking a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs in the start of the season that they've had. So look for that coming up. And we'll see what happens with the Leafs. But it just feels like as soon as things start going the other way, that's it. So, soon as Ottawa took over that game last night, that was kind of it. Now, Trevor Linden's been pretty quiet since he stepped away from the Vancouver Canucks. But he did confirm something we all knew in an interview yesterday, that he had a different vision for the team than what management had, what ownership had. That he wanted to do the rebuild. He wanted to do the rebuild, and the team wouldn't do it. And also, then he's kind of pulled Jim Benning's name into this. This is something that's been speculated for years. That Jim Benning wanted Cody Glass in the 2017 draft. And the Canucks, their scouting staff wanted to draft Pettersson. Now, Linden is saying Benning was not sold on Pettersson. And that Judd Brackett, who was in charge of the scouting, had to kind of step up and insist. And he said there was fist pounding on the table, and there was arguing. And this all started because Linden wasn't happy with the 2016 draft. Well, that was the year they drafted Ole Ulevy, when obviously Matthew Tkachuk was the right pick. So Benning didn't like the way the 2016 draft went, and so he didn't like the idea of Benning just going out and getting whoever he wanted. He wanted the scouting staff to have more say. And so they end up drafting Pettersson. He says that he feels like if it was left up to Benning, they probably would have drafted somebody else. He didn't mention Glass. Now, full transparency, I wanted Velarde. That's just me. But at any rate, Benning was reached out to after the interview, and he disagrees. Benning is saying that he went to Francesco Aquilini the night before the draft and said we're drafting Pettersson, and says he always wanted Pettersson. So the only answer is to get Linden and Benning and sit them on a stage together and have them interviewed, and we can sell tickets to that. It's always felt like the way that Linden left was kind of quiet, but behind the scenes it was probably pretty hot, pretty highly contested between himself and the organization, and then he booked it. So if Linden's opening up on this, we'll see what else we learn from him. But I do agree with Linden's take on this. Because again, if the idea was to go into, say, a 5-year rebuild plan and have some kind of a plan around that, we would have come out of it already. Like right now, we would be coming out of it. So where the Canucks are right now might have been where the Canucks would have been with Linden's vision for the team, and then we'll never know. But anyways, it is interesting, and in this market, that's always going to get people talking, right? Because the way Linden left, fans didn't like it, and there's always been that discussion of whether or not Benning even wanted Pettersson. I think part of it is because Pettersson ended up being such a smart pick. There may be those who say, well, it can't have been Benning's pick then. That was a really smart one. So anyways, I'm not saying I agree with that. Just it feels like that's part of it. So we'll see if anything further comes out of this. But it does feel like that's the end of that. The shots were fired on both sides, and maybe it quiets down for a bit. So I'm going to come back to this as a finisher. I'm going to talk about these two items at the bottom. Caden Primo starts tonight for the Montreal Canadiens as they continue the 3-goaltender rotation. This is only Primo's second start, though. And for the teams carrying 3 goaltenders, Montreal and Detroit, I think, are the only ones carrying 3 healthy goaltenders. But you have to wonder how long that's going to go, because there is a goaltender on each team who's not getting starts. Primo on one side and Alex Lyon on the other. And at some point in time, you're going to have to make a decision. I think Detroit's more under the gun with that than Montreal. I think the expectation is a little bit higher with Detroit for this season's results. And so if they can use Lyon to pick up an asset that can help them right now, I think that might be wise for them. But at any rate, Primo starts tonight. Forbert is probable to return tonight for the Boston Bruins. Apparently, according to Jim Montgomery, he's had a nagging issue since camp. And he missed a game against Chicago earlier in the season. It was the same injury, and he's been trying to play through it. And it sounds like it was getting worse, so he had to have the time off. But he's good enough to go tonight. So hopefully Forbert is close to or at 100% for himself, and Boston could absolutely use him out there. It has been a very good start for Boston, but the defensive depth's being tested. Without Grzelcyk, without McAvoy, without Forbert. Yeah, that's 3 of the top 6. And one of those 3 being, potential Norris winner. So at any rate, we'll see if Forbert gets back in there, what that does to the pairings, and how things go for Boston tonight against the Islanders. Now, coming back to The issue with jerseys. So discussing with people and whatnot, and it does feel like jersey production right now is not very high. So like Cool Hockey got all the Centennial jerseys, but you had to order them with a name on it, which told me right away, okay, so they probably don't have that many. They're not selling blanks. There probably aren't that many. Adidas, I see the new jerseys on there. They sell out very, very quickly. And they're not ones that it feels like are in a lot of high demand or anything. So I do think there's ongoing issues with jersey production. I'm bringing it up here because for people who might be like, well, I'll wait. I don't know how long jerseys are going to be in. Now, the one thing with that, of course, is if it's, for instance, like the Philadelphia Flyers, the orange jersey. Let's just say the burnt orange jersey sells out. You know they're going to have more. That's one that absolutely is not a limited run. But it feels like some of the other jerseys is kind of a limited run. Like the Centennials, obviously, it's just this year Boston's wearing them, and then they go back to the regular jerseys next season. So it might be difficult. And I understand the scarcity is baked in at times. It does feel like in this case it's more of an issue with production. That the production just is not at a level because they're not being sold as a limited edition jersey. It's just here's the Centennials, they're here, and then they've sold out very, very quickly. And again, I'm just throwing that out there so that if you're saying, well, I might get one next month, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be there next month. And the dates on when jerseys arrive, it moves around a little bit. It's something I talked about when I was down in Anaheim, talking to them about like the 30th anniversary and such. It definitely feels like jersey production. And again, this is just, it's an issue with other clothing as well. But for us as hockey fans, jerseys, of course, are part of our fashion statement. And there definitely seems to be an issue going on there. So at any rate, if you're waiting on jerseys and you're like, when's this going to be released? A lot of them are being released, I think, later than expected. And it feels like this is something we've covered in previous years as well. I just wanted to throw that out there for now. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.